Hey, what's up? This is Ian, and we are out here by the dam. And in this video, we're going to talk about getting a black belt in judo. So check this out. So we just got this stuff, maybe about a month ago or a little bit less. It was kind of a long process because of COVID. So we were living in Japan and training judo in Japan, and that's how I actually got my visa. So I got a cultural visa, so that's one way you can live in Japan. You could train a martial arts, or if you want to teach abroad, that's another way. And judo is like any sort of martial art. Like if you're gonna live abroad, living abroad can get like kind of lonely. But like judo or training a martial art is a good way to meet people. It's a good way to stay kind of like socially connected, get some exercise, and learn a skill. It's really great. So I haven't even worn this yet. I've been training judo for like over a year and a half. I haven't done any BJJ or judo. This is my name here, Ian. I can't read Japanese other than very basic hiragana like that, and even that, like I'm already forgetting it. Never really learned it that well. I got this super cool Kodokan card. If you know anything about judo, like the Kodokan's like basically the headquarters for judo. Judo is like, originally it's a Japanese martial art that came from jiu-jitsu, and then Brazilian jiu-jitsu is kind of like an offshoot of that, which is more focused groundwork, and judo's like both stand-up and groundwork, but it's like more judo's a little more rule heavy. Old judo and new judo is a little bit different. New judo is more stand-up. As I understand it, as my former sensei in San Francisco said, the rules are somewhat dictated by television in some sense, because it's a little bit more boring to watch people like grapple on the ground. Anyways, it says something about, now black belt might sound super cool or like you're a master, but this is a first degree black belt in judo, and it's called a shodan. And it actually means, it's like, some of what this says is kind of like, it's like the first level, the first stage in some sense. Now, in Japan, in the USA, and all around the world, there are different like belt systems for judo. So I started training judo in Japan, and no, what am I saying? I was spacing out. I started training judo in San Francisco at San Francisco City College in around 2015 or so. And the belt system there is you go white to green, green to brown, and then you got like 2 or 3 levels of brown belt, and then you go to shodan or first degree black belt. And then black belt, you've got all the way up to like, I don't know what the highest is. I think it's somewhere around 10 or maybe 11 degrees of black belt. And then it becomes a red belt or something, somewhere around there, 9, 10. And there's very, very few people get that high with the belts. And the BJJ belt, that's a little bit different. But in Japan, the belt system is usually for adults is you just go from white to black. And the difference in Japan is, well, sometimes for kids, they do have colored belts for kids or maybe teens, sometimes depending on the school and situation. The difference in Japan, if I was to stay in San Francisco, like you can get a black belt. How long does it take to get a black belt? A lot of people want to know that. Well, that depends a lot. Depends a lot in school, depends on you. Basically those two things. Now, my sensei in San Francisco, he always said that if you want, you can get a black belt. And let me check to see if this is still live. All right, what's going on? Just check to see if everything's still rolling here. So my sensei in San Francisco said you can get a black belt in 2 years if you want. You show up to practice, you do the tests at the end of the semester, and you pass those, and you do that for 2 years, then you can be a black belt. Most people don't do it though. I think a little bit is partly because of the mindset. Like, I think there's a general mindset where this is different. Like I don't know, maybe pressure, or like people don't feel good enough. Um, Most people end up taking 5 years or so. So it took me around 5 years, maybe a little bit more. Um, Ironically, I'll show you something else. And this is a little ironic, I think. Now, it depended. This blue belt. Oh, before I went to Japan to train judo, I was a brown belt in judo from San Francisco. So different belt system in Japan. Like I said, you go from white to black, but you've got to test. This is a difference. I'll tell you about this in a second. In Japan, to get a black belt, you have to test. You have to a different kind of test. I said in San Francisco you have to test too, but that's different. That's more of like an academic test. You do some writing, you do demonstration where you do the throws, but you do not have to compete, and you do not have to fight in a competition to get any sort of points or anything like that. Not in Japan. In Japan, you have to fight, you have to compete. So it's way more high pressure. Like if you've ever competed in martial arts, it's like, I haven't competed that much. I competed in BJJ. Maybe I did 3 competitions in BJJ, and I did judo competitions. Now, 2 judo competitions. Now, for judo, you have to accumulate enough points to get a black belt. And if you lose one time, you're out. I'm going to show you some videos, or I'm planning on adding some video of the competition. My other channel is where I've been making some videos in the past of judo and BJJ, and I put them on the other channel I have. This channel, it says Ian Leahy, but it's been more like focused on, which is me, more focused on like kind of like ESL Insider and teaching in Asia. Most of my videos are that, some not, some different stuff. I've been a little bit, I want to say Jekyll and Hyde, but I'm not sure if that's the right term. Like, kind of gone back and forth to have one channel or 2 channels. I try to make them separate. Kind of ideally, I just want 1 channel, but I don't know. Some people complain about like, oh, I don't want to see these street performing videos or whatever like that. And then like part of me's like, ah. Anyways, so where was I talking about? Talking about belts. In Japan, you got to compete to get a black belt. You got to fight and you got to win. If you lose, you do a competition. It's like a full-on sparring fight with judo rules. Of course, you can't punch in the face or you can't kick or stuff like that. Judo's grappling. You can win by a throw, where you throw the opponent on their back, or you submit them with a submission, which is like a joint lock. In judo, those are like arm locks or arm bars, shoulder locks, stuff like that. Or you could pin them too. You basically hold them so they can't move for a certain amount of time. So, what was I saying? Judo. So to win, now if you have to win to get a point, to get 1 point, you have to win. If you lose, you get 0 points and you're done. You can come back 3 or 4 months later and compete again. If you win, you get a point, and then you fight again, right after it. So, and then if you tie, you get half a point, but you're all done. So yeah, you got to win to get points, and you need a certain amount of points. And then if it's your first competition, you need I think like somewhere around 4 points. And then after you get the points, if you get those points for the competition, then you have to do what is it, Nage no kata? You have to do a demonstration afterwards of a sort of formal judo throws, but actually without a person. It's like, yeah, and you can look it up, Nage no kata. Yeah. So my first competition, I did, I won 2. I won my first one by, I got 1 throw. Osotogari is a kind of throw. I got that. I think I can't remember which was first and which was second. And then I did a I think I got someone in an armbar. And then my third fight, I thought I was doing pretty good. I thought I won the fight actually, but I lost. Why did I lose? I tried a throw called Tani Atoshi, which is kind of like you're kind of wrapping your leg around the back of the opponent and hitting their back. I like this throw, and kind of tripping them from behind. So it's kind of like, I don't know, his opponent standing here straight up facing me, like right, sort of facing me, and I'm kind of like coming around him like that and tripping him like that. But I did that, and I landed on my back, and I immediately got to mount position. But judo, you land on your back, then you lose. So I actually lost. I was really bummed out. I thought I had won. So because I took them down, but I landed on my back. But yeah, that's judo rules, and it kind of depends a little bit on the judge. Like one of the guys after was saying, "Oh, you're kind of playing like you're doing BJJ out there, but this is judo." And yeah, so I lost. So then I had to come back. I don't know, was it three or 4 months later? I did another competition. Fought one of the same guys who I won with a throw in the first match. And this guy real dirty. Didn't like him. Like he did something where he poked me in the eyes. Like he kind of pulled me in. Was grabbing my lapel and then did some kind of dirty trick and jammed his fingers in my eyes. And ever since that, I've got these little spots in my vision now, from that guy actually. That competition. And then, so I got half a point. We tied in that match. No one threw anybody, and we ended up in a tie. Then COVID came. And then when COVID came, the competitions got canceled. I was going to do another competition, but they canceled it because of COVID. So pretty much training stopped. And then I think there was another competition coming up. COVID was still going on, and got canceled again. And then the Kodokan, or the Budokan in Fukuoka. This is from Fukuoka. Kodokan, Budokan is a little bit different. Budokan is like a martial arts training center. Said that. Okay, so they sent a letter to the academies and said, if you have students in your academy that accrued a certain amount of points already from the competitions, and you think they're worthy of a shodan black belt. So these competitions I was doing were to get a black belt in Japan, right? Then you can award them a black belt. So I had been practicing the nage no kata. I'm not really good at that. It's a little bit boring for me. I already forgot it. I probably couldn't even only vaguely remember the. It's like a. You do throw people. I'm sorry. I don't know. I said before you don't throw people, but it's not like an action fight. And some of the throws I think are it's one throw. It's just I never would do this throw. It's just a kind of, in my opinion, archaic kind of throw. I can't even remember the name of it right now. But anyways, you could ask me in the comments, and if you're interested or whatever later, we'll talk about that. But so my school recommended me for the black belt, the shodan, and that's how I got it. And of course, it costs money too. It's kind of a different thing. Actually, it costs a lot of money. It was more than $200. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe they didn't have any competitions. Maybe they weren't making money or whatever. So I don't know. This was COVID. This is COVID times. Things were weird and stuff. And okay, so that was how I got a black belt to teach, So is it easier to get a black belt in Japan than it is in the USA? I'd say yes and no. Yes and no. You got to fight, and that's the harder part of it. And if you lose, and you got to wait another 3 months. So I think that's harder. Now, some Westerners, if you're like a big guy, like there was one big guy, I think in my second match, I didn't have to fight him, but I had fought him before my academy, like dojo where I trained, and he was a big guy. So like I can do pretty good on the ground, and I feel definitely confident on the ground. But this guy like threw like 7 people in a row or something, you know. So you definitely have an advantage if you are bigger. So this is the thing with judo martial arts. You got to make your skill that much better. The little guy can win. The weaker guy can win, but it's like your skills got to be like. Okay, I remember the what are the brothers there for BJJ? The Gracie brothers, kind of younger guys, probably in the 30s. Henner and excuse me, I forget the names. One thing they said I thought was really interesting was a belt is 50 pounds. So what does that mean? Um, let's say I'm a black belt, so I just got this. I'm a shodan in judo, right? Now, say I go fight a person who is, say, weighs 50 more pounds than me. He weighs 50 more pounds than me, and he's a brown belt or, say, green belt in judo. He might have a chance because he's big, a better chance at throwing me because he's bigger, right? So it's like, yeah, it's something like that. The belt, it means something, but it's not everything. Okay, now this, on the other hand, is a BJJ blue belt. Now, it's not a typical BJJ blue belt because it doesn't have the black and the stripes and stuff like that, but some schools are different. Like, I got this actually for the place of school where I trained judo. Now, so you would think that I'm probably better at judo than I am BJJ. And BJJ, again, BJJ, if you're not familiar, BJJ is more of like a ground fighting martial art. Judo is like a stand up in a ground fighting martial art. BJJ came from judo. It evolved from judo. It's like more specialized ground fighting. Judo is more, it's more of a mix, but in more recent years, in the last 20, 30 years, it's more stand up than it was ground, partly because of TV. So what is this thing? So this is a blue belt. So you'd think I was probably better at judo or better at stand-up than I would be at BJJ. But actually, I would say I'm comparatively better at BJJ. So I did BJJ for more like 6 years in this. But in terms of hours, probably 2 to 3 times as many hours doing BJJ versus judo. So I'd say I'm comparatively better at BJJ, even though I got a blue belt. I mean, I'm not like, I'm not like boasting or bragging or anything like that. I'm just saying I'm better comparatively at on the ground than I am standing up. But I don't know. I like them both. I like both martial arts. I think one without the other gets a little bored. I like judo. Sometimes it's got too many rules to it. It's a little bit rigid sometimes. On the other hand, I kind of like it. I kind of like the bowing. I kind of like the respect. BJJ is a little more casual, and sometimes it's a little bit. I don't know. It's a little bit different culture. BJJ culture is a little bit different. You're slapping five, getting skin. I like that before you spar and stuff. Academies is a little more money focused. Like as far as the academies go, BJJ is more money focused. Anyways, this is so yeah. So I guess that's how I got a black belt training judo in Japan. Now, like I said, like you want to train judo in Japan, you can go there and do that. How do you do that? Well, I made some videos on my channel about how you can move to Japan cheaply and Sorry if you've been looking at my face, but I've been holding this inside of my face. Um, you teach English there. You can do what I did this time. I mean, in the past, I taught in China, Korea, and Taiwan. Um, you can, yeah, you can get a cultural visa, but then you need like a way to make money because they don't allow you to work with that kind of visa. So you need a way to make money, and that's how you could train judo in Japan. And like I said, it's a great way to sort of stay connected because when you're abroad, like you can get lonely even if you don't know the language or you're just away from home and like yeah, martial arts it's good. Like you'd be surprised. Like some people, like I think before I get into martial arts, like some people are weary or leery of it because they think it's probably like a bunch of thugs, like just like beating each other's heads in and stuff. And I don't know, like I don't think BJJ or judo's like that. I mean, you're training with different people, but there's like respect and there's rules and like most of the time it's a good time. I mean, like there's you meet different people in the classroom and some you like better than others, but um, it's interesting. You're learning and yeah, it's good. So, do I have anything else to say? I think that was like my spiel, how I got a black belt in judo. So it feels a little weird. It's like brand new. I'm almost like afraid to wear it. Um, there's no place to train judo around here. There are some places to train BJJ, so soon I'm going to get back into that. I got a shot maybe a few months ago, or not a few months ago, a few weeks ago. So yeah, we're going to get back into it here soon enough. Yeah, never thought I'd get a black belt, but I guess you just stay kind of, just keep practicing and you'll probably get one someday. A little bit different though. Like generally, I think people say judo black belts are around maybe 5 years. Like it all depends, of course. BJJ black belts are like more around 10 years. Um, I know people who are. It's not like a set in stone kind of thing. It very depends on you and your academies, and I think part of the reason why I have a blue belt still and maybe not a purple belt is because I moved around so much. I lived in I trained in a lot of different academies. Like when I lived in San Francisco, I started in one academy, trained there for 14 months. Then I went and started judo and I trained there. And the judo place, we had BJJ classes there too, but there's no belt system for that compared to judo. But just a few of us that I guess were pretty good at like the groundwork and stuff did get belts for like the BJJ or whatever, jiu-jitsu belts from our teacher. But and then I was just kind of bouncing around. Like there were no purple belts in the school, city college for BJJ. Not when I was there, and I was there for probably 4 years or so. But different school, you start moving around, and yeah, you move around a lot, and it's like gets a little more difficult. And who knows? Maybe I'm not quite purple belt level yet, anyway. So I got to get back into it and keep training. And we did train some BJJ in Japan too. We actually started with BJJ. You think it's kind of weird, like I gotta switch here. Hey, what's up? This is Ian. You'd think that Japan would be easier to find a place to train judo, but actually, BJJ is pretty popular there. And if you're an adult, like a foreigner, and you don't speak Japanese or very little Japanese, it's easier to find a BJJ place there than it is a judo. Like judo's kind of like not many adults actually train. It's like goes through the school system. Like high school, it's like a high school sport in Japan, and then college people play. And then after college, just like a lot of people a lot of people drop out. Like they just stop doing judo. Not everybody. There are some places for adults, like where I train was a place, but there's not that many. It's like, and it's cheaper than BJJ. Always costs more. Um, yeah, I don't know if you have any questions about judo, then martial arts, and feel free to holler. This is Ian saying so long.